Hello fellow LEGO friends, welcome back to the channel. As promised, today we are finally taking a closer look at the very first building in my LEGO city, the museum and its extension. If you have been following along, you might remember that my city began right there, with that original LEGO modular museum, beautiful building that started it all. Back then, I had this crazy idea to expand it using the LEGO Ideas fossil collection, and that simple idea turned into a full-on redesign. If you are new here, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a comment sharing your thoughts about the museum. And if you would like to help the channel and support the city's growth, consider using the affiliate links below. It's a great way to contribute and it doesn't cost you anything extra. Now, without further ado, let's take a closer look and see what I have come up with. First, let's take a look at the original building. You can already spot a few small changes from the outside. My goal was to make this a freestanding structure, so I decided to add some extra windows on both sides of the building. I used the same technique and style as in the original set, and honestly, I think it turned out quite well. Now let's move inside, where there are a few more updates. I tried to keep as many of the original exhibits as possible, but that wasn't always doable. Starting on the ground floor, if you're familiar with the set, you will know that behind the reception there used to be a lab and a toilet. However, those two rooms were exactly where I wanted to connect the original building with the new extension, so unfortunately they had to go. Thinking about it now, it's a bit of a shame that I haven't reintroduced those rooms elsewhere in the museum, especially the toilet, which would definitely be handy for our LEGO visitors. But never mind. Let's head upstairs, where a few more changes took place. One of the original collections had to be removed to make space for a new balcony overlooking the extension. I really like how that turned out. It gives the interior a more open feel. And that's about it for the changes of the original set. What do you think? Do you like the modifications, or would you have done something differently? Let me know in the comments below. Now, if you watched my original review video, you might remember that I talked briefly about the LEGO Ideas fossil collection and how I wasn't too happy with the different scales of the dinosaur fossils. That's actually where the idea began. I had an extra fossil from the collection, so I thought, why not make the museum bigger and fit all three fossils inside and turn it into a proper dinosaur museum? The idea sounded simple enough, but the execution turned out to be a lot trickier than I expected. To be honest, this was my first MOC in almost 20 years, so I was both excited and a little nervous. Luckily, I had a haunted house set lying around, which uses a similar color palette to the museum, so I figured why not repurpose it and build a new extension. I thought there would be more than enough bricks to complete the entire addition. Well, it turned out there weren't. So let's take a close look at the extension, and you can be the judge of how well my decisions worked out. Let's begin with the exterior and work our way inside. My initial concept was quite simple. I purchased the largest LEGO base plate and planned to place all three of the dinosaurs on it. However, the space was limited and not all three fit. I didn't want to expand the museum further at this stage, so I had to make a tough decision about which dinosaur would be the main attraction. It was clear that the T-Rex would be the best fit for the centerpiece. From here, the building needed to be designed around it. I envisioned the structure in a Palladian-style, which means all four sides should be symmetrical, with a central dome. Anyone who has built with LEGO knows that achieving non-square walls is a major challenge, but I decided to give it a try. I didn't want the extension to have a modern style. That wasn't my aim. Fortunately, I had a lot of 1x1 rounded light bluish plates, which inspired me to try and mimic stone walls. The result was just what I envisioned. Each corner is framed by these massive 3x3 tall columns, which give the building a solid, classical look. One of the next challenges was deciding on the shape of the windows. I experimented with several designs. Some didn't work, but in the end, I was happy with the final result. The only issue was that the tail of the dinosaur was quite long, so it had to extend beyond the building. Initially, I didn't think it would be a problem, but when the tram arrived in the city, unfortunately, the tail had to be removed. Now let's move to the front entrance. On either side, I created small gardens featuring a mix of palm and eucalyptus trees. Around the perimeter, you will notice several lamps, and I really like how the rounded 1x2 tiles frame the base. Looking at the main entrance, two large columns are decorated with tiles from the haunted house set. There are two doors that can actually open, though they are a bit tricky to close. Above the door, there is a series of roof drains with small gargoyles, and above them are additional decorative details. Further up, there are more ornamental details. On the side of the building, I am fond of the cornice details that run all the way around the structure. At the back, a brick-built dinosaur skeleton serves as a striking decorative element on the facade, and on this side of the building, there are two additional gardens, one larger than the other. The bigger garden is connected to the original museum, and you can spot a large tree in the center, surrounded by various plants and lamps, just like in the front garden. The same rounded 1x2 tiles frame both gardens, and on the side connected to the museum, there is a large open space, but we are not quite ready to enter the interior just yet. If we look at the structure from above, you can see curved glass domes on top of each wing of the extension, capped with small walkways. As we approach the central dome or cupola, which is actually removable, it can offer a better view of the interior from above. The cupola itself is an octagonal structure, which wasn't easy to build. The most difficult part was constructing the roof, but I will show you how it was done in the next part of the video. To complete the look, the cupola is topped with an antenna, giving the impression of even taller structure. Now, let's take a look inside. And this is where I made the biggest mistake in building this structure. It's incredibly difficult to access the interior, as none of the walls are removable and there is very little that can be opened. Since this was the first building I ever designed, it was a tough but valuable lesson. Always make your building accessible, especially if they have an interior worth showing off. Unfortunately, this one does. And it's a shame I can't properly display it, but I will do my best to describe it. Starting with the floor, I continue the same pattern used in the original set. I think the color combination works really well. To break the monotony, I added a brick-built Jurassic World logo in the center. I hope you can see it. On each side, there are several benches where visitors can take a short rest. In the middle of the hall, there is a small excavation site, and on the opposite side, a display of dinosaur eggs. I'm quite proud of those two exhibit tables. They turned out just how I imagined. When you enter from the main square, through the front doors, you are greeted by a small reception desk where visitors can buy tickets or pick up a souvenir. And now for the main attraction, the reason this entire building was created, the T-Rex fossil. It's massive, but allowing minifigures to walk all around it, and its head even reaches up into the cupola. Honestly, it turned out far better than I originally imagined. It's just a pity the interior isn't easier to access or display. Now let's talk about the cost of building the extension. I don't know exact figure, but it was somewhere between 7 and 1,000 euros. And that's just for the extension itself, excluding the original set. This total also includes the mill's base plate, which alone cost around 70 euros to build. Originally, I planned to repurpose the haunted house set for this project, but as you can see, not much from that set actually made it in. I ended up using only a few green bricks, the windows, and some of the 1x1 rounded plates, though I had to purchase many more of those to finish the walls. Most of the bricks came from the Bricklink, but I also used the official LEGO Pick-a-Brick service to get the remaining pieces I needed. And of course, a big thank you to everyone who used my affiliate links. Your support helped me fund part of this build, so thank you very much. In terms of time, it took me about 6 months to complete, but to be honest, I wasn't working on it continuously, and other buildings in the city came together much faster. Still, this was by far the most time-consuming build I have ever done, but also one of the most rewarding. Now, let's talk about the building techniques. Starting from the outside. As I have reviewed many LEGO sets over time, I have picked up several techniques that I incorporated into this build. For example, the trees outside use the same design technique as those in the botanical garden set. All the corner structures are built using a mix of 2x2, 2x3 and 1x3 bricks with 1x1 rounded plates, stacked all the way up to create that solid frame. The decorative cornices uses 1x2x2 bricks with knobs, topped with 2x2 jumper plates, and finished off with 1x1 plate. These details add a nice visual rhythm to the facade. The curved glass dome were inspired by the Harry Potter Hogwarts Express Collector's Edition set, particularly the way the platform arches were built. In my case, I made a small mistake on one side, so they aren't perfectly straight, but it still works visually. For the cupola's octagonal shape, I took inspiration from the cabins in the LEGO Ideas treehouse set. I scaled it up slightly, and through plenty of trial and error, found the right angle to connect the cupola securely to the main structure. The roof was by far the most challenging part to design. The inspiration came from the gazebo in the Rivendell set, though that one uses a hexagonal shape, which wasn't an option here. I discovered that LEGO offers Technic pieces with different fixed angles, and one of them turned out to be perfect for the octagonal layout. The main roof structure is attached to the building with clips and bar connections, and from there you can see the flex hose elements extending upwards to the smaller octagonal section. That flex hose section also took a lot of experimenting. I initially ordered longer pieces, but they were simply too long and didn't fit properly. The roof itself is made of 4 lower panels, each covered by another 4 panels placed slightly higher. The very top section sits on 4 4x4 curved plates, which connect to the smaller octagonal structure at 4 points. Overall, the cupola might not be the most polished part of the building, but it works, and I'm genuinely happy with how it turned out. Of course, there are probably other ways to achieve a similar effect, but since this was my first MOC after quite some time, I'm happy with the result. I hope I have covered all the interesting building techniques used in this model, but if there's anything else you would like to know, let me know in the comments and I will do my best to answer. So that's the full story behind the museum, the very first building in my LEGO city, and the one that started this entire journey. Looking back, it's far from perfect, but every brick reminds me how much I have learned and how much fun it has been to bring this world to life. If you enjoyed this episode, let me know in the comments what you think about the museum extension. I would love to hear your thoughts. And of course, don't forget to like, subscribe, and consider using the affiliate links to help me keep expanding the city with even more builds. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next chapter. And until next time, happy building!